Our first devotional thought today comes from the book of Genesis, the power of an acceptable offering. The power of an acceptable offering. Let's start in Genesis 8, verse 20. Then Noah built an altar to the Lord. This is after the ground is dried out. And there he sacrifices burnt offerings, the animals and birds that had been approved for that purpose. That had been approved for that purpose. Now, brothers and sisters, one of the things you begin to recognize is a lot of the principles that you see coming out in the law of Moses were long before the law of Moses. Like the principle of clean and unclean animals. This is how many clean animals you're to take, Noah. This is how many unclean animals you are to take. There were principles that were already laid out. And these principles involve the offerings, animals and birds that have been approved for that purpose. Now, there are offerings that are acceptable to God, and there are offerings that are not acceptable to God. We saw just a few days ago that Cain just brought something from his crops, just whatever he wanted to do. Abel brought the best that he had. Now, beloved, you see that in Genesis, and then you see that again in Malachi chapter 1, where God scolds the priests because you just tell the people to bring whatever they want. Where's the honor due me? Why can't they bring their best? You just tell everybody to bring whatever they want. And, it's a kind of a burden to have to come and bring the offering to God. It's a burden. It's a heavy thing God is asking. God scolded the priests for that. Now, one of the things we have to learn is that there are offerings that God accepts and there are offerings that God does not accept. And people who have unacceptable offerings usually get really angry at people that God accepts the offerings from and brings blessing upon. Cain got really mad at Abel because Abel's offering was accepted. And God said, well, Cain, if you do right, you too will be accepted. It's not a question of what Abel did. It's a question of what you did. You go do what's right. Now, beloved, one of the things you'll see in this world is that when people don't know how to make a correct offering, and those offerings are not accepted, those seeds do not bring a harvest, they get really angry at people who give the proper offerings to God. They get really, really hostile. And Cain actually killed his brother Abel. Now, Noah knew how to make an acceptable offering. He knew what to bring to God, what had been approved. And because of that, God was pleased. In verse 21, and the Lord was pleased with the aroma of the sacrifice and said to himself, I will never curse the ground because of human race. Even though everything they think or imagine is bent toward evil from childhood, I will never again destroy all creation. Look at the power of an acceptable offering. God says, never again will I destroy the human race. In verses 21 to 22, he makes a covenant with all creation, not just mankind. He said, I'll never again destroy all living things. He said, and as long as earth remains, there will be planting and harvest, cold and heat, summer and winter, day and night. All of this incredible promise, the rainbow that's in the sky to this day, to remind God of his promise, to no matter how evil men are, to never again destroy all of creation because of man's sin. It all came because of one man's offering. Have you ever thought of the power of the offering that you have brought? Have you ever thought about it? Have you ever thought about the passage with Peter and Cornelius, where Cornelius was not even saved yet, but his offerings had come as a memorial before God? Have you ever thought about this? The power of an acceptable offering can change the world.